Well, Thanksgiving is over, and now we trudge down the dreary road till Christmas and the greet-a-thon and the shit in prices that were never fucking reduced to begin with and everything. So, hey, yeah, I'm all cheery and shit, but hey, you know what? Why not take a bong hit while we're sitting here? I don't know, how about some strange and terrible tales of New York City liquidators for this episode? I don't think we ever talked about the wonderful help we had in there besides me. Yeah, we had some winners there. You know, the guy I replaced, Zito, who basically couldn't sell fucking heaters to Eskimos. And actually, the girls up front were good for a while. Francine was pretty cool. She was this Jamaican chick. And second in command was this big Puerto Rican guy from Patterson, Angel. And let's see, you had 3 Mexican stock boys, Juan, Sammy, and Luis, and 1 drunk, basically, who did all the shrink wrapping and all the menial shit, Jimmy, whose breakfast of choice was 2 cans, those big cans of Colt 45. I can get into that in a few. And, damn, the one guy who worked the karate section, Alberto, he was pretty cool. And there was another chick that came in, what the hell was her name? Betty, and she claimed she used to work at Show World and that she was a dancer at one point, which she might have been, but she was odd and annoying, and she was the woman that basically when Ox Baker came in and was bellowing and stuff, he thought she was cute and took his teeth out to show her that he felt she was cute. So that was that. Yeah, then of course, like I said, I got overwhelmed. You know, in there I was making money on the phone, not dealing with the assholes that wandered in that couldn't understand that 2 and 2 equaled 4, and I was lying to them. So brought back a guy who Zito had replaced, this guy Bobby, who was another alcoholic. But I just needed somebody to deflect the shit off of me, so basically I knew he was drinking and I caught him, and I said, as long as you stay fucking sober enough to deal with these assholes and just write up simple receipts, we don't have a problem. So that was that guy. Jimmy, actually I sobered Jimmy up for a month. I almost got him to 30 days. Then he staggered in, completely fucking shit-faced one morning. He must have drank like 6, I don't know, what are these, like 40-ounce things or something like that? I have no idea, but I wouldn't drink it, and to me, Colt 45 always smelled like sweat, so why would I want to drink it? Anyway, he walks in carrying something, his breakfast or something, crashes into a display case, and yells, "Who put this shit in my way?" All right. Then this girl, what was it? There was one girl that was in there, I can't remember her name. Vicky, this Cuban chick went walking by, and he's like, "Hey, I want it." I'm like, "No, Jim, you don't." So Norm comes back and he goes, "He's too fucked up to work, send him home." And I says, "Well, actually, if we send him home, he might fucking get killed because he can't even fucking walk." I said, "Why don't we just put him in the back and let him shrink wrap shit?" So put him in the back. I said, "All this shit, just shrink wrap it, you stay here." All right. 20 minutes, so I go back there, and it's like the scene from Used Cars where Frank McRae passes out with the blowtorch in his hand. He's passed out drunk with the shrink wrap gun blowing hot air. I click it off, and I look up, and he has a list of people he wants to kill, and I'm number 3 on it. Okay. So when he sobered up, I went in the back, and I said, "I want my name off that fucking thing. I don't care about the rest of these assholes. You're not going to kill anybody." But, yeah. And then, like I said, he was sort of a goofy fucking drunk where Bobby would get nasty and something sometimes. And they had a little, we were closing up, and for whatever reason, him and Bobby went at it. Bobby banged an umbrella over his head, and Jimmy turns around and starts screaming at you, "Yeah, big fuck, you didn't even hurt me." Well, as he's screaming, there's 2 New York City cops standing behind him. I'm like, okay, I got to defuse it. I said, enough. They look, I said, just let him go home, and let him go home, and that's it. So that was that. Oh, as far as New York City cops go, they were pretty cool. Norman seemed to know them all. And Me and this other guy who wound up working there, this black dude, Alex, we used to take our lunch break by standing out in front of Liquidators, smoking weed and watching the chicks from Asian Institute of Technology walk around. So one of the cops we knew walked up to us and says, listen, you can't do this out anymore. He goes, Giuliani wants me to bust anybody smoking pot. And he goes, you're going to do that shit, do it in the store. I'm like, well, Norm ain't going to allow us to do it in the store. And he goes, well, that ain't my problem, just doing it out here. So we proceeded to, me and Alex had little sections in the basement where we had a hole in the wall where I'd take 3 hits off a joint, put it in there, he'd go down, take 3 hits off a joint, go down there. By 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I really needed hits off a joint dealing with the knuckleheads that I had to deal with. So that was that thing there. And see, Alex would get fucking mouthy too with people sometimes. And this one guy was in, and I knew this guy was a bad guy because, you know, he sort of figured things out after a while working there. And we were closing up, and he said, all right, let's go, let's go. And this guy, he said something to this guy, and this guy goes, always has to be this way, huh? And he starts reaching for something, and I go, don't, please do me. Consider this a personal favor if you don't, because there's a truck coming in tomorrow, and I need him to unload it, and if you fuck him up, that means I got to unload it. I really don't want to unload the truck. And he goes, all right, man, you always take care of me. That's cool. You know, I'll let it go this time. So, yeah, okay. So, yeah, there was things like that, too. And then there was another guy, get into fucking incidents about fucking things happening there. This one kid was in there, really acting weird. He's something about, he wanted this movie with Vanessa Del Rey because it was his father's favorite porn movie. Now, we're all sort of giving this kid the eyeball because this is kind of a little bit fucked up. But anyway, I said, you know something, let's find the guy the tape and just get rid of him. So we found it, we give him the tape. Next thing you know, Sammy comes walking up to me with an empty box. And I turn around and go, where is the tape? And then some of the customers are going, all right, give him the tape. And he starts wailing and screaming and shit. And I'm like, okay, you're out of here. He had the tape under his coat. They took it, put it back in the box. I'm walking him up there. I go, you're going to pay for that thing. I don't have any money. I said, you're out of here. Then he takes a swing at Pam, who's behind the counter. This short little, I believe she was from Ghana or something like that. So I'm like, okay, that's fucking it. I'm like chest to chest with this guy. I'm pitbulling this kid out the front door, out in the street and against the truck. And I'm yelling in his face. Well, then it dawns on me that I'm the only white guy out here. And everybody's yelling, kick his ass, kick his ass. He disrespected the chick. I'm like, no, fuck this guy. I said, it ain't worth it. Go back in the store, this knucklehead sticks in the store and yells, the only reason any of you people work here is because you're a bunch of losers. And I turn around and I go, yeah, well, what's your point? So that was one incident. And then you're going all day with this shit. That's what I mean. There's so many different weird, fucked up things that happen there. And one of them was that Norman was on dialysis. And Norman's nurse had a boyfriend, Tiny, who just got out of jail and needed a job. So Tiny was anything but. He was this ex-con, shaved head, tattoos, spent a lot of time in jail. But Norm has sympathy for these guys, because of course Norm's been in jail a couple times himself. So he gets this guy, he makes this guy his driver. And this guy drives him to work, and the car gets parked, and he works there. Well, he was trying to work there. I'm trying to think, because it didn't... Actually, I got along with the guy. You know, we were cool. He was away for a long time, so I was turning him on to some movies, and he was all happy, and actually was going to try to fix me up with his sister that lived in Bayonne, but I just had this picture of Tiny with tits, so I politely declined. So one day, I come in, and Tiny's nodded out over the counter. I'm like, oh, fuck. And see, if you were a user or you had, a problem with drugs, this store was not the place to work. Because it was a fucking drug supermarket 3 blocks down. So, yeah, he found it. He was all fucked up. And I'm like, dude. And he goes, oh, man. I'm like, no, dude. Because he used to tell me, he was a dealer. He used to tell me about how, the cops busted him and he had all the bags of dope in his underwear. And cops were patting him down. And they go, what's this? And he goes, my balls. I got big balls. So, I mean, yeah, like I said, I got along with the guy. I felt really fucking bad that he was getting back into this shit. But then he dropped off Norman one day and was supposed to pick him up at 3 o'clock. And we're at 4 o'clock, we're at 5 o'clock, and no Tiny. Now, Norm's like, I don't know what to do. And I said, honestly, dude, I think at this point, you should figure maybe you should report the car stolen. Oh, I can't do that. He's probably late. He's probably tied up in traffic. I said, just do yourself a favor. If he don't pick you up tomorrow morning, because I had to take him, I walked him to the train station. He took the train home. I said, if he don't pick you up tomorrow morning, you got to report the car is stolen. I said, dude, you know, I like the guy too. I said, but you know something? If he runs somebody over or something like that with your fucking car, or does something, or pulls a fucking heist, it's on you. It's your fucking car. He didn't steal it. If you report it stolen, he stole the fucking car. So, unfortunately, that's what he had to do. And about 3 weeks later, they found Tiny down in Miami. And I don't know about the car. I don't think the car ever came back. But unfortunately, Tiny went back to jail. So that was one thing. Then the other thing was too that, you know, it was a bunch of shit above us, like lofts, warehouse space, whatever. I really didn't know it was up there until this guy came running into the store wearing a diaper, and this short black chick was chasing him with a fucking whip, screaming, "You didn't pay me for the session, you didn't pay me for the session." So, okay, now I know that there is a dungeon above us. So I corralled this chick and I go, well, look, you got to get this fucking asshole out of here. And I go, you can't do this. I'm sorry, man. You know, I said, okay, just get him out. So she got him out, and then she became a customer, and then I don't know what happened. So about a couple months later, I'm walking across the street to get my coffee because I was pretty much drinking like 7, 8 cups a day there in this little luncheonette. Well, I don't know what this thing was, a magazine store. Everybody sold coffee. Like I said, my favorite coffee was from the fucking truck in the morning, first thing in the morning, with that fucking dinner plate size fucking Danish with all kinds of frosting and raisins and nuts in it, shit like that, cinnamon. So yeah, but I digress. So I'm getting my coffee, I'm walking out, and I see this car parked, and I see these guys are plainclothes cops. And the reason I knew that was because they'd been in the store in uniform. So I'm like, okay. So I walk over and go to Norm. I said, anything I should know about? And he goes, what do you mean? I said, so-and-so's outside and they got plain clothes. I said, anything I should know about? And he goes, no, we didn't do nothing. We got nothing going on. I'm like, well, something's fucking wrong. So of course I'm going to go out and fucking find out. So I walk out and I said, afternoon, officer, there's a problem. And he goes, go back in the fucking store, Pete. I'm like, okay. Winds up that there was a house of ill repute up there somewhere, and 5 minutes later, after I went in and minded my own business, they were taking him out in fucking handcuffs. So that was another thing too. You know, you got to know your surroundings. But yeah, like I said, all kinds of crazy shit could happen. You know, I even said one time to Rambo, and that's the only name I knew him by, because he was Norman's driver, bodyguard slash, you know, auctioneer friend or whatever. I said, you know, this would be a great reality show if we could put cameras in here. And then I'm thinking the same thing. Yeah, and we'd all be in jail too, because enough weird fucking illegal shit took place in there that, you know, it would have been interesting. But, you know, actually, you know, this would, you know, I could write a whole bunch of shit about New York City Liquidators, and I already have in my book and the other book that's supposed to come out. But, you know, they're looking for something real to put on HBO and Showtime and everything like that. There you go. You know, because that, like I said, that store was iconic and a lot of people remember it. So that's our episode for today after Thanksgiving. And we'll be back with more. I don't know. I got something, a little something planned. You guys like that show and tell with press books and things like that. Well, maybe I can get away with something here. So until next episode, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing. And above all, stay safe. We'll catch you on the flip side.